What's up, everyone? My name is Natalie Walters, and I am the founder of Reset with Nat. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. If you're returning, thanks for watching. I know that I've posted and not posted and been a little inconsistent with my YouTube videos over the past year. But what I have done is made sure that I was able to complete a year of interviewing a certain amount of people within the community who shared their story. And I'm so happy about that. So if you want to take a year in review with me on the Reset with Nat channel, so that way, hey, you can watch this video, hear a little bit about the interviews that I did. And if you are interested and you want to actually check out those interviews in detail, you can go ahead and click on them at the end of the video. Today is more or less a moment of gratitude. I am so thankful for the people that took their time to come and speak to me about their story, their journey of entrepreneurship, their journey of resiliency, their journey of recovery, rediscovering themselves. That's what it's about here. The Reset with Nat channel. Although I am a life insurance agent, my goal is to make sure that as we are living a life, we're protected with the proper insurance. But at the same time, what are we doing to maximize our lifestyle, maximize our experiences, maximize our feeling great and accomplishments? And it's not even maximize, but just explore. And if anything, maximize. Everybody has something different that they need to do or want to do. And it's just for you to identify what it is for you and then execute that and then experience the moment of transformation. So myself, as an advisor, I work in the financial industry, educating and providing insurance and other financial services. But then I also have the Reset with Nat podcast, and that is where I do interviews and I talk to people, and I feel so fulfilled with the people that I've talked to. I've been speaking to a lot more people. There are other people that I want to interview. There are some people I haven't connected with yet that I know I need to interview because one, as anyone is going into like getting older, your responsibilities change. Sometimes awareness, we're not aware of what to expect. Sometimes someone in your life or yourself may be impacted with a certain situation, whether it's an experience in the relationship with children or health. Having conversations with people who have had those experiences and being able to share it with other people, maybe preventative measures, maybe support, maybe inspiration. And that's what I desire, to make sure that every single time that I have conversations with people on this channel, there's at least something that I know I can take away with speaking to that person. That person can feel by releasing the information, by sharing it with other people. And then there's other people like yourself who sit down and view it and you're like, wow, I appreciate hearing that. I feel informed. Let me look into this a little bit more. If it applies to you or even doesn't, you're just inquisitive. Or it may inspire you to take action on something that you desire to do. I said, let me take a look at my channel. There's some interviews that really, I do need to highlight. There were others this year that I had that I was not able to record in person with them. We did an audio interview, and shout out to all of those people who were on the audio platform with me at first. Honestly, for anybody that took the time to meet with me and share, I appreciate you. It's just that unfortunately you won't be seen on here. One of my first interviews that I'm going to talk about, it was the first in-person interview that I had and that I kicked off 2024 with. And this lady I had met maybe 2 years prior. Well, I didn't meet her. I saw her 2 years prior at an event, and she spoke about her story. Traumatic brain injury is what she suffered from as a result of a car accident. And watching this beautiful young lady giving her talk to us at this event was so empowering. It was so inspirational. I was very taken back by what she had gone through, what she's still going through, and how she just showed up. And you would look at her and that's the thing about life. Sometimes you're looking at people, you don't even know what they've been through or what they're actually dealing with. And her story inspired me. I wanted to talk to her that day, but I had to leave the event and did not get to talk to her. Didn't see her on social media, but what I did was later on, another year and a half, I think, or so later, I went to an event and I'm walking by and she had a booth and I was like, oh my gosh, I knew she had a book. I wanted to read the book. And then at the same time, I was like, I want you to be my first interview. And her name is Alexis Lee. And let me tell you, when she came into the spot where I do my recordings, it was just a positive experience right away. Right away. I just felt so good seeing her come into the space. It's like, okay, fine, she showed up, yes. I've never really had anybody not show up to an interview, to be honest, but things like that do happen. Life happens. So it was just really great to know, okay, this is the first one. It's her. I was ready for her story. Not only that, I actually bought her book at that event. She had a book, and the book, her story was told so well. I said to this girl, listen here, you know what you need to do? You need to get a short film made off of this book. Like, honestly, I was inspired. I want you guys all just to take a little listen to some of Alexis's story.
Back to back. It doesn't matter what sermon I watched, the speaker would say, somebody's supposed to write a book. Someone needs to write a book. You have to write a book. And I just got annoyed because I was going through serious depression.
Okay, of course, yeah.
And I said, okay, Lord, so if I'm going to do this, you have to help me because clearly I'm struggling with comprehension and reading. Mm-hmm. And I was embarrassed.
Right.
I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I know you have your feelings a lot about what happened.
Yes.
But I was under some serious shame and embarrassment. And I was like, I'm not talking about this.
Right. Yeah.
And then I just said, okay. I gave my yes.
See, I smiled when she said, I said, okay.
Yeah.
I smiled when she said that because, you see, and this is why it's very important, like, things will happen. You're supposed to do something at some time because you think that's what you're supposed to do at that time because you were told or it was brought to you. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you have to go through life a little bit more and be patient.
Yeah, patience is it. Patience.
But when it's for you, messages will be downloaded into
everywhere you turn.
Yeah. And then literally something's going to go off here. Starts with the heart. Mm-hmm. If it's meant, it's going to start. There's going to be a different feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you said yes.
I'm glad too.
Your yes is also my blessing. I think that as many podcasts that I've people that I've interviewed and conversations that I've had, I think this one's one of the most special ones because,
girl, you're gonna get me all.
Listen, I'm a fan.
I'm blessed. This is a blessing. In the beginning, you don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Look here, when I said I'm a fan, I was not joking. I'm telling you, when I read her book, let me tell you, I was like, Lord, wow. I want you guys to tune into that episode. It's titled Alexis Lee's Inspirational Journey as a Traumatic Brain Injury Survivor. That was one of my most favorite interviews. And as I said, I'm a fan. Thank you, Alexis, for joining me on the Reset with Nat podcast. Many blessings. So who's next? Who is next? Who else came on the podcast? Who else did I have a great conversation with? Let me see. Yes, my girl, Monique. Monique is someone that I met. Social media, we were all home during the pandemic and things were going on. People were following people and there were a lot of lives going on. And when you go on the live, you see the same names in the chat and you realize like there's a network of people going to like just together, support, showing up for other people within the community. And then I went to an event and I met Monique. I know I met her at least at 2 different events. So Monique came up with a line, and it is called the Dynasty. And let me get you to hear a little bit from Monique about her products and just a little bit about her.
You mentioned I was actually taking naproxen.
Oh,
before I started this, and naproxen is like really strong.
It's the G.
It did nothing for me.
Oh, really?
It did nothing. I had to take 2, and you're only supposed to take 1 every 24 hour. I took 2, and I'm still waiting for it to work to this day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so I stopped taking because I seen like whenever I take medication, I always look up the side effects because I'm just like, I need to know. I can't just take something and trust, you'll be fine. No, I need to know what's happening to my body while I'm taking this. So from reading the naproxen side effects, I was just like, I can't
too
take
much.
It. Yeah, it can really damage.
It's a
your
very
kidneys.
serious medication.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So it's an alternative, right? If you're looking for an alternative, obviously you need to do your research.
Exactly.
When it comes to yoni steaming, what type of herbs are inside of that? Can you share that?
Yeah, I have 3 different ones. The rejuvenation steam, it has Demina, it has red clover, and it has St. John's wort in it.
Okay, we don't need to give them anymore. So it's just about those. Yeah, we don't want to give you guys too much. People know stuff and they want.
Yeah, that's a
All right, so that was myself with Monique. And, even taking the time to rewatch some of the episodes. Right now I'm doing clips, and that's for this reason, but I do rewatch my content because being able to rewatch it, it's okay, how did you do? Did you ask good questions? Was the conversation flowing? Did it seem stagnant? Did it seem forced? That's what I gauge when I look at these interviews back. What more could I have asked? How much do you think? There's different things that I look at, but let's stick to Monique. Monique has worked very hard on her brand, and I love it. I love that she's also created a self-care community where you can join up on WhatsApp. So if you are interested in knowing more about Monique from the Dynasty, you can watch the interview. I mean, from the interview, you can gauge a little bit of her personality and what she's like. And then, you know what? I'll share her information in the description as well. So you can go ahead and look into joining her network or exploring what the products and services that she offers. So I'd like to thank Monique for joining me in the 2024 Reset with Nat Podcast. That was a good one. Now, let's see who is next. So the next guest is a long-time friend. I'm talking about, when people, the other day I was on social media and I saw someone say, do you have, I don't know, they were saying if you don't have friends from your over 30 years, then blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Like one of those things like, hey, I got friends from 30 years ago, so that means I'm a great person. That's what I gather that people are saying, because if you can have friends for so long and you appreciate those friendships, it could be a bragging thing, and it also could be, you're happy that you have those friendships. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, I had to look around and say to myself, well, how long are some of the friendships that you have? And sometimes people that you knew way back when, you don't necessarily need to be friends with. It all depends on your life. So don't feel away if you don't have friends from 30 years prior or 15 years prior. And if you're rebuilding and reconnecting and creating another network for yourself, don't feel bad for that. I think I felt away when I saw the post. But then at the same time, I was like, what are you talking about? Just 2 days ago, you were talking to a girl, like your home girl. She's your sister from another Mrs. or Mr. Like I've known her since I was probably 7. What are you talking about? You may not see the people all the time. You may not be around them all the time. You may be in a different province from them, but they're still my people. I have a best friend who's been there for like 30 years. So what am I like? Come on. you have that. But this interview with, where am I going with all of this? This interview was a pleasant surprise. So this friend is a shared friend with a mutual friend, and we all grew up together, but I kind of went this way and they stayed close. And I found out that this friend has gone into the health and beauty industry. And then we reconnected. And we started talking, and she started to talk about family. She started talking about her products. She talked about the journey to motherhood. So when she said she was into the wellness beauty industry, I figured, you know what, it's not makeup. So she didn't wear makeup. And then she told me about gua sha and rituals, Japanese rituals, and, taking the water and the stress out of our skin and our body. And she introduced me to gua sha, which is the technique of pulling. Let me tell you, I had puffy eyes. I was like, girl, you do all that? I don't know what it is, but I want to know more. And she said, okay, Nat, I'm going to talk to you. And I said, well, you know what? Don't just talk to me. Come on the podcast. I have a community of people, especially people who are getting older, and we are looking at ourselves, and we got to put concealer on because the eyes are a little bit puffy. It could be because of age. It could be because of just the way your skin is, or lack of self-care, lack of rest. But if you have something, come talk to me, not talk to the people on the podcast. So she's like, say less. And then we also talked about stress and, de-stressing and self-care. Why wouldn't I have my beautiful friend Sasha on the podcast? So Sasha is the founder of La Plume Beauty. And as you can see, there are some tools that are used as a part of self-care and rituals to take care of your face. But we think that it's, you think that, it's just a movement for your face. You're just doing something to help, depuff. But every area and point is tied to somewhere in our internal system, which also helps to relieve stress, and regulate our hormones and do all sorts of stuff. So I had Sasha come on to the Reset with Nat podcast. She introduced herself, her products, her business. It was a great conversation. And once again, I'm going to share this clip with you because who knows, you may be looking for something right now or someone to support you on your journey of wellness. And you know what? You want to work on your outer appearance, your internals in a natural and holistic way. And I got my girl Sasha here for you. So let's take a look at our interview, portion of our interview.
Well, as you're saying, in life, every step there's an adjustment. And in every adjustment, we cannot neglect ourselves. And this came about when I became a mama. And caring for a newborn and your household can prove to be quite challenging. And within it, you find that if you're run down, the ship is also on its way down. So I was inspired by my daughter, truly, to take care of myself as best as I could in order to take care of her as best as I could. So that's how this was born. And I loved all these rituals before. I loved going to the spa. I loved getting my nails done. I loved taking care of my skin, my hair. That was my thing. Yeah. I loved me. And I didn't want to stop loving me. I wanted to do that. So that's exactly why I decided it's not only me going through this. I see this all of the time. I see people taking off their oxygen mask, giving the oxygen to others first before they give it to themselves so they can help others. So I decided, you know what? This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to create and curate tools that if you have 5 minutes, 5 seconds, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, if you just want to do something once a week, you're going to be able to pamper yourself as if you were in the spa. And we all deserve it.
You heard my girl say, I loved me and I didn't want to stop loving me. Oh, that was beautiful. I felt that because I'm like that, you know? I love me and I don't want to stop loving me. How can I take care of myself? I know that there's certain things where it's like, it took time to get to the point where I can look at myself all the way and say, oh, Natalie, you start to see the things and say, as much as you may not like everything, you can do this to correct it or keep it. But at the same time, self-love is important. So if you're going to be with yourself and not make changes, then you better start loving you, because if you don't, when other people start getting on your case, then you are going to be a depressed person. So that was a bar. I want to keep loving me. That was my girl Sasha. And if you want to find out more about the gua sha and the self-care products that she has, actually she has a Le Plume. It's Le Plume. Le Plume. Le Plume is the name of the business. She also has an oil that's made out of plum oil, which is amazing. I'm actually going to insert a clip. I have to insert the clip because I used to use Vaseline on my skin all the time. And she was like,
put it on your heels.
Meh. And I stopped using Vaseline because when I got the plum oil, it's a very, I put that on. I don't feel like my face is dry anymore all the time, and that I need to saturate it with Vaseline to feel complete. I've honestly cut down, if not out. I can't say out, but I've cut down majorly putting that on my face because of the lip plum oil. And then these tools are very great with just relaxing your nerves. That reset, that one time to just, you know what, to know more, you got to watch the video. And not only that, and there's not only this video that I did with her, Self-Care and Motherhood with Sasha at Le Plum Beauty. I also went to do a consultation with her at her house. So where she showed me how to use these tools, right? So that was a great episode as well. So Sasha and I did two. And it was great. So thank you, my girl Sasha, for joining me on the Reset with Nat podcast in 2024. Much love, girl. And let's see, who else I got? Lisa Rose. Lisa Rose is someone that I've met on Instagram. You have people in your community, in your network on Instagram. You don't know how you start following each other, but at the same time, you see the messaging that people share. And honestly and truly, just a positive person, very supportive. And at the time, Lisa was doing nails and toes. So manicure and pedicures. And she would just share them. And I'm just like, I like that. And then there's a little talk about God. She have a godly component to her content or her messaging and her stories. And I really liked her personality, And I can't remember if it was one post that she did that made me say, I need to know more. She actually wrote a book. Part of a book, and it's for Christians. And I said, let me talk to her, because you know what? Everybody has a story. And then she came, and she talked about her life and how she transitioned into being full-time, doing mani-pedi versus what she used to do in the educational system, and how not listening to your body can really cause great repercussions, right? She got very sick. She didn't take time off when she was supposed to take time off. And she ended up getting very sick. And one of the things that also led to that was also an experience at work, being injured at work. And then not looking into it, not taking care of her health, just kept going, kept feeding the workplace, but not taking a moment to sit back and stop and say, okay, let me give myself time to heal. And this is a part of our interview. Now, Lisa Rose is in, I believe, the east end of Toronto if you're looking to explore her services. So let's take a look at a clip from my interview with her. And this one is called Embracing Change, From Adversity to Renewal with Lisa Rose.
Through counseling, working through this negative mindset, right? Like, didn't realize just how negative my thoughts were. But, praise God that, I'm learning what it means to have a renewed mind, right? A lot of us, we're like, yeah, okay, we know the scripture, it says renew your mind, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't understand that it takes work. It takes work, especially when those thoughts are flooding and you're just like, you're bombarded and you're like, oh my goodness, like just spending like this time off is glorious. Amen. Like it's glorious. Like it's just, all right, I get this time to be with the Lord. I get this time to talk to people. I get this time to put myself out there. I get this time to spend time with my husband. I get this time to be with my children and to see just the connections that I have and how important they are, right? Whereas before it was like, when you say your priorities, right. My number one priority, even though I had a family and I had a husband, they weren't my number one priority. Work was my number one priority. Hold on. Give me 1 second, because I have to reset the, it cuts off at 30 minutes. Oh. So before it hits the 30 minutes, I want to make sure that I don't. The love was the work. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was like work, thank God, then my family. Okay, and so
Okay, so correct me. I was wrong. She didn't like the feet at first. She was doing everything else in the course. The nails, the eyelashes, facial. Didn't want to do the feet. And it was later on where the feet came in. So correct me for that. But the fact of the matter was that Lisa was on the go, driving, giving the most for her job, was not taking care of her health, and also feeling a little bit like, I haven't really put too much energy into my family the way I am into this work. Got injured at work. And through all of that, she ended up exploring something different and realized her purpose and ended up writing a book. So I'm going to be sharing Lisa Rose's contact in the description if you want to find out about her services, if you're looking to follow someone who has gone through a transformational journey themselves through health and wellness. Like I said, she was down. She was in the hospital in and out. And she also talks about counseling and all sorts of other things that help to bring her back to being 100 and living a purposeful and fulfilled life. She also does Instagram posts called Scriptures by the Water, where every week or so, I think it's on the weekends only, that she posts. She goes by the water. Maybe not right now because in Canada it's really cold, so she doesn't necessarily do that. But she posts, scriptures. She reads a scripture and it's by the water. Right now she's probably just reading the scripture and maybe has water sounds. I don't know. I can't remember what she's doing right now, but you can check out that full episode. It's called Embracing Change, From Adversity to Renewal with Lisa Rose. Ashleey Simone. This young lady I met through my sister. My niece, she has a business and they were vendoring. Auntie Natalie shows up at some of the events and I volunteer or just come to show my support. And I ended up meeting Ashleey at her booth. She had a beautiful setup. And she had a product line of very natural oils for skin, different oils for the skin, and then also shea butters and different products. I think there's soaps and more. A natural skincare line. And this was based on Ashleey. She's been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And with her journey, she felt that, just like Monique, what these traditional, what we're getting in the stores or what doctors are giving, it's just not working. It's just masking. I need something that's holistic. I need something that's natural, that's going to help to heal, soothe, and really help me get over whatever, or, manage, if not heal, whatever is happening. So she developed a care line. And Ashleey came to, I just admired her story. I knew a little bit about it just by her telling me at the booth. And I was like, you know what? I'd love for you to come talk about that. I mean, someone that's developed a full product line, right? Started with one product, gone to another. And she's a person who has a health condition that she has to make sure that she's getting the best treatment. And these products help her. So with that, I wanted her to share her story about, what happened with her diagnosis and how she's bounced back. Multiple sclerosis is an illness that can also, not say you're paralyzed permanently, but it can paralyze your movement, or your mobility for an extended period of time. And seeing how she was up and going and feeling good and talked about her healing. She does yoga. She teaches yoga classes. She has a coaching service. Let's take a look into our interview because
wires is the myelin sheath. Right. So that is what's coating our nerves. And what's happening is the myelin system, the attack on it is.
Okay, and what made you decide to start a product line? What led you there?
My story, my journey. So 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a very severe case. The time of my diagnosis, I actually developed partial paralysis 2 months after.
Okay, so hold on for that moment, because what happens sometimes is with the terminology, not everybody may understand what multiple sclerosis is. So if you can explain the definition of multiple sclerosis and then the paralysis as well.
Okay, so multiple sclerosis, it is an autoimmune disease. So basically my immune system is attacking itself. It is not able to differentiate the bad from the good in my system. So what's happening is the myelin sheath, so that also, it's like...
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I was getting all wrapped up into the conversation all over again because it was just so interesting. So anyhow, that's just a portion of Ashleey's story and what she offers. She didn't even get into the offerings. For you to know what her product line is about, follow. Actually, don't follow. Sorry, watch the full episode. And then I will also put her information in the description. So thank you, Ashleey Simone, for being on the Reset with Nat podcast. Many blessings. And the last interview, this interview I did not expect to have at all. If I had thought about it in my opportunity of knowing who I would want to interview, I never expected this interview at all. I was talking about people that from a long time ago and whatnot. And to be honest, this is a friend who literally we grew up together. We hung out together as young adults. But then we became disconnected. And then life has a way where, I don't know, just things happen, experiences happen, life happens. And you could end up reconnecting. And I'm telling you, once we reconnected, it's like time never lost. Time never lost. A very genuine friend, Stephen Gangaram. We ended up connecting, and when we connected, he told me about, what was going on in his life during the time that we had not spoken for years, which at some point kind of hurt me because I was like, yo, man, we were good friends. What happened to you? But you moved out of the country and life changed. And with that change, you don't even know what people are going through. My good old friend, good friend, we talked about what was happening now. So, okay, that's what happened during that time, but what's going on now? So we were able to also reconnect on a similar thing, which is entrepreneurship. We're both exploring entrepreneurship. He is a father. He was married, now divorced. So he's going through rediscovering what life is as a divorcee and a father who shares custody of their child. And also, he's no longer in Canada, hasn't been in Canada for years, and what that's like staying out there in the US. But then also going into entrepreneurship, a gentleman that used to work in corporate America doing big things. But then at the same time, the opportunity was taken away, job loss, whatever the case is, and what do you do after that? So an opportunity in the health and wellness field for him was presented, and it was based on him and his health journey, a product that he took, something that helped him during his recovery. And he decided, you know what, if this is working for me, why am I not sharing this business with others? Why am I not sharing this product with others? And we talked about health and wellness, but we more or less talked about from a man's perspective, what it's like to go through divorce. And this one is called Rebuilding Life and Health After Loss, and Love and Loss, a father's discovery of new beginnings. And this one,
I was trampled on, I was spat on, and then on the blackboard they wrote down some racial things on the blackboard for the rest of the class.
And this is at the Christian school?
This is at the Christian school.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And I remember feeling so disgusted with myself in who I was, and I wish I didn't look the way that I did. You get what I'm saying? I wish that I wasn't part of the community that I was. I wish I was part of a different community, the one that was making fun of me, right? And so from then, I started feeling things of depression, of low self-esteem, of feeling less than.
Right.
And that carried on through much of my life, very much of my life. But when I moved to the U.S., and that depression hit, that was totally different. But I'll tell you what, it brought back all the feelings of what I had in the past. You know what I mean? And it started to pile on now.
Unhealed childhood trauma.
Exactly. And then now your self-worth, you start questioning your self-worth again, right?
Yeah.
Here I am in this position here now, I'm supposed to be a provider. I can't even provide.
so I didn't even talk about that part because there was so much conversation there, and I forgot we even talked about childhood and what, like, even though we didn't go to the same school, we grew up in church together, but I didn't even know that this was an experience that my friend was having at that time in his life whilst growing up with him as a young person, not knowing that my friend that always looks so confident and so bold and will do so many things in church and be, like just a person who a lot of people love being around, was experiencing this in a school system. And at that, it was a Christian school. To Jesus, unhealed childhood trauma ended up leading into, when things got bad as an adult, that the past starts to creep back up. My gosh. That was a good conversation. It's a lot more detailed. He talks about life being married life, relocating out of the country, and then rediscovering himself and his journey, which is just awesome. And I wish Stephen many blessings in 2024 and beyond. These are the guests that I had over the last year on the podcast, and I'm thankful. It's not easy for people to share their stories, but it definitely is worth it when they do. There's always something that you can learn. When they say, sometimes you're sitting there and you're thinking about what's going on in your life, and until you really know what's happening in others, that's when you're going to pull up and you're going to be mindful. Well, this is why sharing your story really helps. And not only that, it can also be something as a preventative measure. I am really happy just even watching myself having these interviews, having these conversations. I've always liked talking. I like talking to people, but at the same time, I like talking. I like learning. I like listening to people. My mom used to say to me, though, when I was younger, Delia, that's my mom's name. She would say, be quick to listen and slow to speak. Because whenever they would go to give me, I'd always have an answer. I have an answer. I have an answer. But she used to say that to me, And I knew that when I went on, I wanted to start interviewing people. That used to come to me a lot, what my mom used to say, and even going into business, you're meeting with clients, you're having an appointment. People are going to be divulging information to you that you need to pick up on. So that way you're able to help fulfill the need. Right? And if you don't listen, then how can you identify that need? Sometimes they may say it, sometimes it may be worded different, sometimes people aren't saying certain things, their mannerisms. You gotta be able to hear, not just hear people, listen and hear and stop all the talking, which I still do. I am quite a chatter. So I could see in certain interviews, it's like, Lord, Natalie, get to the point with your question. I could see that needs to happen. So this is also me taking the time to look back and reflect on these episodes. It's one, to hear the story from not being in the position of asking the questions and having the interview in the moment, and hearing the story as a person who's just taking it all in again. And then there's also the learning, like looking at myself. What did I wear? How was I sitting? Girl, you should have a longer skirt, or you could have crossed your foot that way. Condense get to the point with your questions. Don't take up too much time, because the interview really is about the person getting the information that needs to get out to the audience. Yes, you highlight a little bit about yourself and what you're doing as an interviewee. That's what I see. But then it's also looking at how I'm very happy. I look very happy and content with doing these interviews and engaged. So, and I could also see how my hair grew. I also see how my hair grew. So this is the 2024 review of the Reset with Nat podcast with all my special guests. I want to thank everyone that's taken the time to watch this recap. Tell you what's next. Where is the direction for the podcast? Where's the direction for this YouTube channel? So what I'm going to be doing is I will get back into interviewing shortly, but not right now. I am going to be looking for people who work in certain industry, the healthcare. I want to speak to healthcare workers. I want to speak to psychologists, psychotherapists. I want to talk to people who work in social services, so that way we can help support and educate each other, because I know that as you get older, different things with your health start to hit you, or you're going through helping a family member that's older and you want to know what's out there, what resources are available, how to ask questions, how to identify something that's not going right, how to advocate for yourself. I want to start having those conversations. I definitely want to have more conversations with other entrepreneurs in the city. And I think, and I want to be making sure that I get the right people that's going to help support the message that I want to put out there on this podcast. Also, I'll have vlogs. I think I'm going to do more vlogging. YouTube is going to be where I do more educational content here. So as a life insurance agent, there's going to be short videos, maybe 5 tips on life insurance products, different services that you can look into when it comes to finances, when it comes to the reset. What is a reset? How do you reset? Just different things. And then a day in the life. What am I doing? What am I doing? Because someone asked me, they're like, well, yeah, you know what? You should show what you do during the day. Like, what's the day in the life for a person like yourself? I have a job, incorporating that. How is the time management? How I'm able to have a business on the side? Because there's people who will want to explore that, and sharing a little bit of that and how I'm managing it as well would be interesting. And then I'm a family person. I have my other half. I have my son, right? So at the end of the day, maybe sometimes having a little vlogging of that experience with my people as well. But yeah, good things coming in 2025. I am so thankful. I'll tell you, to be honest to God, like the last quarter of 2024 was a little rough. It was rough. Like 2024 was rough. I'm thankful. I made it through. I had support, but at the same time, God, ugh. But you know what? With patience, with prayer, with support, and the right opportunities coming, I had the transformation that I needed. So that way I'll be back up and running. And now I have to run with consistent effort. So as much of as I've had this channel for however long, and I've been showing up however I want to make YouTube the main platform where I share long form content. And then I'll share out to the other platforms and still engage that way. But if you are inclined to join me on this journey, don't hesitate to subscribe. Whenever I post, don't hesitate to comment. When you comment, it will help me know, Natalie, here's a suggestion, or here's someone that I know in this industry that you can interview. I think this person would be great for you to interview. Or here's a video idea I think would be great. You know, I don't mind hearing from you all. In the meantime, I just want to say thank you all for being here. And also, I look forward to what is to come in 2025 and beyond. Many, many blessings. You have a blessed and safe new year.